Well, hello everybody, it's me, GhostCritic, and it's time for my very first of a monthly series called The Trade Union. For those who don't know what this segment is going to be about, I'm going to pick a graphic novel, trade paperback at the beginning of the month, and read it, review it at the end of the month, and I invite all you out there to do the same. Hopefully you may have already got the issues, you may go out and buy the trade, and then do your own video for this trade union. I'm going to be making a playlist of my videos, and if you do a video for that book for that particular month, I'll add it into my playlist, so we've got it all in a nice ordered space. So I look forward to hearing and seeing hopefully some reviews for this month's book of January, which was Nailbiter, Volume 1. There Will Be Blood, that is what it is called. When you think of Image, if you explain to someone who is not familiar with the Image Comics Publishing House and what kind of stuff they put out, the three areas that they seem to excel at very well is science fiction, high fantasy and horror books. We've got Image doing Witches, we've got The Walking Dead, Outcast. Next month sees the new one, The Nameless, and Nailbiter adds to that list amongst many others that Image put out. Written by Joshua Williamson, art by Mike Henderson. This collects issues 1 to 5, a nice chunk of the series. And basically, if you enjoy your horror films, such as like Silence of the Lambs, the Scream franchise, there's a little bit of Seven in there, it's kind of Twin Peaksy in places, then this book is probably going to be right up your alley. The premise of the book is that we have this town called Buckaroo in Oregon, and it has the unfortunate claim to fame of birthing 16 serial killers. And within this story, Williamson introduces a whole community of potential suspects for his kind of mystery horror story he's going for here. Now, the main players that we have in this title, there is kind of 4 characters that we are being pushed towards really in this kind of first arc. We have Elliot Carroll, who is this kind of obsessed FBI agent who tracks down all these serial killers who tried to bring our Nailbiter to justice. He mysteriously vanishes after supposedly finding the secret behind Buckaroo, Oregon. And this is where we get introduced then to his kind of friend, is he a work colleague? Nicholas Finch, the last person to speak to Elliot, who has kind of a dark history himself. There is elements of a suicidal nature and the potential that he himself could be a murderer. Of course, we have the titular named character here, Nailbiter, Edward Charles Warren, who, after being captured and brought to court, charged with countless kidnappings, murders, tortures, indecent exposure, still gets off scot-free and has decided to take residence in this small town community. Clearly not well liked, but there you go. And then we have the Sheriff Crane, who finds herself teaming up, so to speak, with Nicholas Finch, trying to find his friend Elliot. The kind of twist with this young woman is that she was the prom date for Nailbiter, and that brings up some interesting kind of relationship issues and characters playing off each other throughout this book. Obviously, being a horror comic, it's very much entrenched in the kind of cliches of the horror movie genre. Of course, there is lots of blood and gore and violence in here. This book certainly isn't one to be reading to your kids as a bedtime story. But there's also plenty of fist punching, gun toting, burning buildings, crucifixions, and attempted hangings to whet your horror appetite within the pages as well. Now, the interesting thing about a horror comic is that, you know, by definition, a horror of whatever genre, whatever medium, should be there to scare you and unnerve you. But as a comic, unlike their kind of cinematic counterparts, which rely kind of very heavily on kind of soundtracks, cutscenes, the infamous jump scares, conveying all this within a comic book is a little bit more tricky due to its kind of static nature. You can put as many kind of like speed lines on a panel as you like, but that is only the feeling of movement. You don't actually see these characters moving from scene to scene. But there are moments within here that try very hard to follow the kind of horror scene genre cliches. Most noticeably is the scene of them in the morgue, where, as always, you know, when you're in a morgue, lighting isn't that bright. It's always on the fritz, and it certainly is here, as the lights keep coming on and off as they are looking at this body. And as the lights keep getting switched off and on, we see kind of a creepy, ghoulish character getting nearer and nearer. And it all happens on this kind of double page spread. And right at the very end panel of this 2-page spread, the mysterious figure has disappeared. But as soon as you turn over the page, you get that jump scare where he's practically on top of our main characters. So you have, it's trying very hard to fit in with the norm cliches of a horror book film. And I think it does it admirably well. There's certainly enough in this book to keep me occupied and interested, and I will be looking out for volume 2. I'm very interested in learning more about Finch's kind of sordid past. I'd like to see more of the relationship between Crane and Nailbiter. There's obviously, whether it's one-way kind of unrequited love there, but Nailbiter still seems to have a soft spot for our sheriff. Obviously, who is our horned killer that is doing all these kind of murders, these killings. And the big one that our first character, Elliot Carroll, is looking into. What is the big secret behind Buckaroo? Why is this place causing so many people to turn into serial killers? I'd love to see more of the other serial killers that they mention. They do kind of little kind of biops almost of these separate characters, these separate serial killers that have come from the town. I see a potential for some kind of offshoot mini-series that focus on maybe just certain serial killers and how they've developed their origin stories, where are they now, which I'd be really interested in reading. What each issue, I mean, I don't think I could read this in single issues as much as I like this title. I couldn't wait a month to find out what is going to happen. There are some kind of cliffhangers. The last panel is always a little bit of a twist. It always leaves you hanging. So it's great edgy 10 stuff, but I don't know if I could wait an issue by issue. I much have it in these nice big chunks. Volume 2 does come out very soon, so I'll definitely be picking that up. Just a great read if you're into your horror comics. Well written kind of mystery novel that'll get you thinking caps on who are the real killers. Is our Nailbiter being as squeaky clean as he is trying to show to the town community and of course to the sheriff. So plenty of good stuff to get your teeth into. Thoroughly recommended if you love your horror comics, or if you just want to have a little dip of your toe into that genre. Definitely a good book to read. So on to February's pick of the trades. I've decided to go for something which will hopefully be a little more lighter, a little bit more with the laughs. I've chosen volume 1 of Rat Queens, written by Curtis J. Weeb with artwork by Rock Upchurch. The blurb on the back says, they're a pack of booze-guzzling, death-dealing battle maidens for hire, and they're in the business of killing all the gods' creatures for profit. Meet Hannah, the rockabilly elven mage, Violet, the hipster dwarven fighter, Dee, the atheist human cleric, and Betty, the hippie smidgen thief. This modern spin on an old school genre is a violent monster killing epic that is like Buffy meets Tank Girl in a Lord of the Rings world on crack. Sounds good to me. So this is our book for February. I'll be reading this all through the month, and then at the end of the month a date to be pre-arranged nearer the time. Again, I'll be putting up a review of this. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this new series of mine, and I look forward to hearing all your comments and hopefully seeing a few of your video reviews of the first volume of Nailbiter. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.